Hi there everybody. So we're going to look at calculating what we class as harder percentages, but essentially it's just about finding basically 1% and then dealing with anything that moves up from that. Alright, so we'll explain. So 1% is 100th of 100%, so the full amount. So to calculate 1% you just need to divide by 100 essentially. So to find 1% of 1300 you just divide it by 100, it gives you 13, and that's going to be your answer. If you want to work out 1% of 135, same process, divide it by 100, and that's going to be your answer, 1%. All right. If you're trying to work out something which involves 50%, 10%, and 1%, so for example 61%, then of course you've got a little bit more work to do. All right, because you're going to have to break it down into manageable scenarios or manageable percentages that you can work to. So there's two ways you can do this. You could work out what 1% is, okay? Work out 1% and then times it by 61. All right, so that's an option, and it works for some cases, and certainly with a calculator that is exactly what you do. You work out 1% and times it by 61. But alternatively, you might decide, well, I can work out 50%, I can work out 10%, I can work out 1%, using the skills I've done in other lessons. Obviously other percentage lessons, there's another percentage lesson based on 50% and 10%, and now I've just done 1%, and then bring them all together. And that's what we're going to do here. So 50% of 800 is 400. 10%, well, you divide it by 10, so that's 80. And then 1%, well, you divide it by 100, that's 8. So all that, 50, 10, and 1 is 61%. So bring them all together, so add them all together, it's going to be 488. Okay, and that's probably a lot easier than doing 8 times 61. Okay, so if I wanted to look at 1% here and just say 61 of these, well, you'd have to do 61 times 8, which I suppose you could do using multiplication, and I'm sure you would get there, but obviously it just seems a little bit harder than trying to do it this way. So there are different routes and there are different ways of kind of achieving it. So let's have another look at one. So find 30% of 90. Well, the easiest way I can think of is, well, I can work out 10%, but divide it by 10, and then just times it by 3. Okay, so let's have a look. So 30% is 3 10%, so 10% is 9, so 3 9s are 27, and that's going to give me my answer. So 30% of 90, which is 27. All right, so when calculating percentage, check it does sound correct. Ultimately, if you're trying to work out 61% of 800 and you get something which is like 9,000 or something like that, just make sure it kind of seems reasonable. So we know how to calculate 1%, which I kind of said right at the beginning. We've looked at examples, for example, 63%, all right? But I've also mentioned the fact that if you have 63% is made up of 1% 63 times. So if I want to do 76% of 400, well, this is the one where I think, well, just get your calculator out and do it, all right? Because what you need to do is that's the first method which I've kind of shown you, all right? So we'll break it down into stages. But what I probably suggest that you're going to do is this one, where you work out 1%, which is 4, and then just times it by 76. All right, and that's really where your calculator is going to come into play. You're going to do 400 divided by 100 to give you 1%, all right, which is 4, and then times it by 76. All right, and that's going to give you the same answer. All right, so you can take the one on the left-hand side and spend an awful lot of time trying to break it down, or sometimes, and again, you do have 2 calculator papers, I would expect them to just expect to use a calculator effectively to do this next one. All right, so that's it for calculating what we call harder percentages, but ultimately this is more to do with harder percentages without a calculator and trying to break it down. All right, if you're sat in a calculator paper, please don't go down this method one. All right, please don't go down doing all this over here. If you're in a calculator paper, they expect you to use this. All right, so just think about it, what you're doing. All right, so there are a bunch of questions online on maths-school.co.uk. A link is at the bottom as normal, but of course if you need to revisit this lesson you can do. Thanks for listening.